Hey everybody, and welcome to a new video. And today I want to talk about a couple of topics. One being for those people out there that actually want to start building a library of games. I kind of want to bring up a couple things that why now is probably a good time to probably start looking for some games. And one of those reasons right now is, as you know, everybody's looking forward to the ninth generation. Pretty much, that's the PS5 or the Xbox or whatever the new systems are going to be called. We're pretty sure that they'll be we'll probably get to see those systems probably 2020. I'm pretty confident we will, or if not, probably early 2021. But now is the time to probably start looking at the seventh generation, which is still at a lot of stores right now, and I want to say mainstream stores like GameStop. I know GameStop is infamous with a lot of you guys, but like I mentioned in other videos, I feel like they have some good qualities to them. One, as of right now, is that when they're bringing in newer systems, they start to kind of like try to get rid of their at least the previous two. I would say the previous two generations. They try to like kind of get rid of that stuff. And right now, the PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, even the Wii U are good to go and find those games at GameStop. And I think now's the time to look for those games right now. I don't know if a lot of you guys are interested in the seventh generation. I think they had a lot of great games on those systems. I actually go to GameStop every time I'm running errands because I have like 4 GameStops around me. So during the week, I'm usually in one area or another, so I'm always at one of them, and I'll find something to pick up from the store, which I'll show you guys in a bit. But what I noticed when I went into GameStop is that these sections for those systems are actually thinning out, so they're getting smaller and smaller. And I don't know if that's everywhere, but I'm pretty sure it's probably getting like that everywhere at GameStop. So, a lot of the stuff they're clearing out, and they're giving less for it if you trade it in. So, I think now is the time to kind of pick those games up. And one of the main reasons I'm saying that now is the time, because when I was looking at these games, I noticed that a lot of them were starting to have generic covers, and people just trading the disc in or whatnot. And that definitely, for me as a disc collector for games, I feel like it must have a cover. I don't want to collect discs by itself. It has to have the cover, manual, and all that stuff with it. So I like my stuff uniform, and I'm just seeing a lot of it thinning out. So I really feel like this is the time for people to go out and get those games on those systems. PS3, Xbox 360, Wii U have a lot of good games on it. I haven't really messed with the Wii U personally, but I think it's a good system, especially because it's backwards compatible with the Wii, so you can play your Wii games on it, which is great. But it just feels like this is a good time for you guys to get into it if you want to do it. I know a lot of people, they see all the games I own and everything, like, how did Reggie get all these games, man? That's amazing. And, well, I built them up over time. I started when I was 15, didn't have much money back then, and I mean, pretty much when I got those PlayStation demo discs, those things meant a lot, man. We played the heck out of them, a lot of good time with those, and those things are amazing. But I just really kept my stuff. Of course I traded in back then to get newer games and everything, but over time I started to realize, like, man, I just kept this stuff, and over time I just built a library of games pretty much. And I got a lot of it most of my PlayStation PS2 stuff I got like day one stuff, because I was buying games like crazy back then. But I mean new games crazy back then. But it's just like I don't know. It's what's the word I'm looking for right now? I just really just kind of kept everything like I just said earlier. Sorry, I'm yammering, but I just got a lot on my mind to think about when I'm telling you guys about this. But it's crazy to look at everything I've gotten over the years, and it's just a lot of it I got pretty cheap later down the line when I started collecting back in, I want to say 2011. Around 2011, 2012, we were finding a lot of these games for dirt, which was insane. So, when video game collecting became a trend, got popular, then you started to see prices rise up and everything. And you started to see like stores like Value Village and Goodwill pulling their games, because we still find a lot of games there on the cheap, but they started pulling their stuff. They started getting people who wanted to get into reselling. They started to go to work at these stores, and then they started pulling the stuff and selling it online. So that kind of killed that stuff. But anyways, going back to the whole situation of why is a good time to start collecting. I feel like a lot of these games are on the cheap, and GameStop actually has a lot of those like deals, like buy four games, get it for $20 or whatnot. If you're under a certain value or whatnot, they always have certain kind of deals going on. That's a good time to kind of go into and start collecting certain games and everything. But a lot of people will kind of forget this, because this is what happens when the PSP was pretty much being cleared out. I was the only one. I remember I was like one of the only people like going to GameStop, like collecting the games. The one of the collectors was saying, "Man, you're the only one that buys the PSP stuff. No one else looks at it." And now, when it comes to PSP stuff, even though I feel like it's still underrated, it's like it's not out there anymore. Like GameStop was the only one that really had it out there. And like I said, it's the best time to get it when a mainstream store has the stuff because sometimes you could wait till it gets to a pawn shop or whatever, and that's cool. Pawn shops have deals and everything, but you never know what they're gonna have, and it's just like, I don't know. I just like buying my stuff from a mainstream store pretty much. I just feel like it's a store like GameStop is like it's the head of the line for video games. So I feel like that's the best place to get games, especially when a system's at the end of its life cycle, which the PS3, Xbox 360, 7th generation pretty much been in for a while, but now they're going to start pushing that stuff out where they don't even carry it anymore. Or what they might do with the whole revamp with GameStop, they might actually just start selling it online. But you know how it is dealing with GameStop, buying stuff online when it's used. You don't know what it'll come with, if it come with a cover or the manual, or if it'll come complete at all. So it can be pretty annoying. But like I said, guys, mainly I want to just get it out there to you guys that now is the time to probably start looking at that stuff. I'll show you some stuff. Like I went to a couple of my GameStops while I was running errands, and I found some of these games. Like, here's a game right here, Centipede Infestation. $5. I didn't never knew about this game. This is a game made by Way Forward, and it's as we know, Way Forward makes quality products. So this is another good game I got for $5 in my collection, and GameStop had it for $5. So that's on point. Now you're gonna laugh at this next game, but I like games that have to do with the military, and I saw this. I've never seen it before. $3. Marines. Modern Urban Combat. I think this is a rail shooter or a first-person shooter. I haven't really looked at it yet, but I looked at the cinematic for it, and I thought it was pretty hilarious. But it's nice to go to these stores and find games like that out there, and I just feel like GameStop is one of the best stores to do that at. Pawn shops are fine too, and if you have a Goodwill or Value Village, it's still okay. But GameStop, it's just, people will bring their games there to trade in because they don't know what to do with them. So GameStop is the first place they'll bring all that stuff, and then and you can find certain games there on the cheap. And like I said, now is the best time to do it. That's if you want to collect games on the cheap, at least. You could go with other systems as well. Cartridge-based systems tend to be more expensive, of course. So N64, Super Nintendo stuff, that stuff's pretty expensive. But depending on what games you want, you can still find a lot of that stuff for cheap too. But I don't really see a lot of that at games. Unless it's a prestige store, you might see some vintage games there like that. But other than that, you'll probably have to find some of that stuff at GameStop online, besides finding it anywhere else like a pawn shop, secondhand store, and all that stuff. But right now, I'm really trying to get you guys on the 7th generation. I think this is a good generation to start a collection for on the cheap. So that's all I really got for you guys. Just a little talk about that and everything. So if you want to build a library of games to have, good games, definitely check out the 7th generation right now. This is a generation that's going to be cleared out of GameStop pretty soon, I believe. And like I said, a lot of that stuff is something cheap. Some of the stuff I showed you. Here's another one. SNK Arcade Classics. I found that there. Even though this doesn't have all the great games it should have had on it, it's still decent enough for around $10 pretty much. I have my buddy's Pro Elite membership, so I still get that until end of October. And other games like you know, House of the Dead, Overkill, and all that stuff. You know, I'll talk about these games more in depth in a pickups video. But, you know, it's just nice finding these games on the cheap at the stores. And then they always have some kind of deal. All right, sorry about that. I got interrupted for a second. So, yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for your video. Let me know what you guys think about these the 7th generation. Do you feel like it's a good time to start collecting that stuff? I mean, not everything. Like, I mean, I know I'm bringing up GameStop a lot, but I feel like they're the front runner. So that's the main reason I'm talking about GameStop. And, you know, of course, I see a lot of deals there. So I'm trying to spread the word to you guys, you know. If you just look sometimes, I mean, you can find when is a good time to buy a game or a bundle of games there. So there's that. But of course, you can find these games at pawn shops, secondhand stores, and other things like that. But like I said, while GameStop is pretty much blowing them out, you know, I feel like that's one of the best stores to get your games at if they have them in stock and if they're complete. Because CD games, disc games have to be complete for me. I will not collect disc only. Ugh. Well, I guess if you make a custom cover for it, like my buddy Michael does, but his stuff looks good. But you could do that too, and then it'll be legit. But anyways, guys, that's all I got for you. Radical Reggie, and I'll see you later.